Welcome to Buried Talent, the show for young professionals that tears down false beliefs about faith and work so you can unbury your God-given talent right where you are. I'm Patrick Lowndes, and with me, my host, Ken Freire, and today we're talking about leading from below, which is going to be a fun topic. I talk about this a lot when I'm in colleges, especially like leadership classes. But hey, before we jump in deep, let's do our quick check-in. Ken, how you feeling today, my man?
You know, mentally I'm doing okay, but if some of you guys are listening and it sounds like I ate a frog, I kind of lost my voice last week and I'm still trying to recover from it. So we'll see. Hopefully you could be okay hearing my voice the way it is.
It's a little bit of real life. We're just if we're gonna keep it, keep it 100 right here. That's what we have to get into. We actually just a little bit of backstory behind that. We were not at a big football game or something like that, or a baseball game here in the Seattle Mariners are like still hanging on. We actually were launching one of our programs called The Forge, and we were doing that in Denver at some conferences. We had just had a great time with everybody. So if you're listening and you're in the Frontier Operator Forge, here's a shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome. Shay, Tanner, Theo, Corbin, Noel, the whole bunch there. You guys are awesome. Ken, I know I'm forgetting a few people. But we're just going to jump on into today's topic for leading from below, because you came here to listen to that. So let's jump headfirst into that. A little subtitle is how to be the most valuable person in any room, even without a title. And so as you think about that, Ken, kind of just kicking us off, we always like to kind of tackle like a false belief. Can you just open that up for us? What does the world say about, especially young professionals who are usually not like at a VP or some crazy title level? How does the world lie to us about what its version of success or authority or leadership is?
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, most of them feel like this false belief that comes is I can't lead until I have authority, or they feel like they need to have a certain position or title before they could actually jump in and step in and do something of impact.
Yeah. Yep. And it's interesting because, and so I started my career in compensation, and it was all about like titles and leveling and how do we get people to get promoted. And we always joke that like at a bank, like everyone's got a VP, like the receptionist is like the VP of first impressions. And you're like, and you're just a receptionist. That's what you are. That was our little inside joke at the bank. So you're like,
Yeah.
but when you think about this in your career, there's like a backhandedness to like, oh, you're only an entry level employee, right? And the lie is like, you're kind of worthless until you put in your time. And there is some truth to that. A lot of times there's some truth in what these lies have. But the lie part of it is what we want to get after today, which is how can we lead from below? And I don't know, Ken, if you just want to maybe ground us a little bit in scripture about how does Jesus talk about leading and what does it look like from a biblical perspective?
Yeah, there's a lot of examples, but I think one of the best examples is Jesus himself. You think about this, he is one of the three people in the triune God, and forgive me, I shouldn't say one people, one of the God, of the Godhead, excuse me. And he models this. He decides to come down to this earth, incarnates himself. He's both fully God and fully man. And you can see this in Philippians 2, where he says he took on the nature of a servant. He's humbling himself.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, God exalts him. He didn't come here and say to this earth and he was like, look, I am the new ruler. I'm going to overthrow Rome. I'm going to be the new king. He completely flipped the way a Messiah and Christ should actually come and serve his people.
Mm.
He said, I came to serve, not to be served. And if we were to take that model and say, hey, how are we going to walk in leadership? We should say, well, we're going to serve others. We're going to lead others. We don't need the title. We don't need the position. I always find this fascinating when I think about Jesus. He has everything at his disposal. He's the king of the universe. He is God. And then he decides to come to this lowly earthly state. And
Yeah.
he's living, and think about it, all times he could have come in all of history, right? He went 2,000 years ago to Judea, and he's just like, it's dirt, right? It's not like
He was also like an oppressed people group, and he literally came in as like a fragile human infant, which we know like, you're kind of worthless for your first year in terms of self-sufficiency. You're lots of worth, but in terms of your ability to like hold your own. And sometimes
Yeah.
I think we as professionals, we get into that first job and we're like, oh yeah, here's my first job. I just have to put in my time. I just have to grind it out. And here's what we want to talk about today is you can have that posture like of Jesus saying, I want to show up, I want to serve for like, I'm here to serve. And it's not like we're like, all just have this shadow motive, like I'm just going to dominate and take over this place one day. But Jesus calls us to like, be all about serving. Right? And he actually says the greatest among you is the servant, right? So I kind of want to jump into, Ken, when I'm in class and we're talking about this topic, leading from below, there's 5 steps, ways, just tips that I've seen. If you do this well as a young professional, and you could be listening right now, you're maybe still in school, or maybe you're a couple years, 2, 3, 5 years out, and you're still like not at like a level of status. This is relevant, like regardless of where you are. So Ken, am I cool to jump on in?
Jump on in.
Jump on in. He's like, hurry up, get on with it, Patrick. So step number 1, there's 5 ways to lead from below. Number 1 is take initiative without overstepping. Okay. And what this looks like in practice is a lot of young professionals, when they get in there, you're kind of like the eager beaver sometimes, when you kind of just like want to hurry up and like get your name out there, get known. And, it's really important is to find the balance of wanting to take initiative, but also not just like coming in too hot and heavy and maybe overstepping what you should be doing in your role and as you're in a learning posture. So we like to coach people, like clarify people's expectations of you and what your role is. And then also when you notice a challenge or a problem, it's cool to like spot that. But again, be careful you're not coming across as this pompous young professional like that figured it all out, right? And so we like to say, a friend of mine used to tell me, hey, never bring a problem to a leader unless you have an idea for what the solution might be, right? And we're going to talk about that on point 3 a little bit more. But that's number 1, take initiative without overstepping. You ready for number 2? Good?
Yes.
All right,
Patrick,
let's get after it.
hold on one second. Keep going. I got to step out for a second. My daughter's crying, but I can edit all this out. Just keep going and I'll sneak back in. Just keep recording.
All right, good. All right, that was the first step for how to lead from below. But let's go to the second step, which is master your role to free up others. All right. I know we spent a lot of time talking about, you're going to be a team player, and yes, we're going to work on that in just a second. It's actually one of the 5th points we're going to get to, but mastering your own role is critical. If you show up to your job and you are not like nailing the basic responsibilities of your job, then like all other things you could do to try to help influence the culture is kind of like in vain, right? So what you need to be really thinking about is how do you nail the key fundamental points of my job? So if you're in sales, like, are you hitting your sales targets? Are you putting in the calls and doing the emails and building your pipeline? If you're more in engineering, like, are you delivering and building high quality product or designing solutions for your customers that are going to work? Or if you're in finance, like, are you closing those books? Are you doing the analysis with excellence, right? So if we want to think through mastering your role, it is like step 1. But then imagine after you mastered your role, how can you free up other people, right? So that you've now figured out your job and you're delivering value there. And now you can go and help other people with their projects. But if you try to go help your friend, like without like nailing your own role first, your boss, hey, like, bro, like focus on your own work. Like you haven't even hit the goal yet, right? So we need to think about like, let me make sure I get my stuff done so that I can anticipate the needs of others and help out. And you'll become like your favorite person on your team if you nail your work and then you go and say, hey, I got some extra time. What else can I work on? What else can I do? Every leader loves when someone does that, right? That's number 2. Cool. We're going to get to number 3 next. I know I'm kind of, Ken's like, my throat hurts, Patrick, keep talking. All right. So number 3, we just alluded to this earlier, is bring solutions, not just problems. So when your business is like full of challenges and problems and setbacks, you deal with customers that are not happy, you get off track when you're trying to build a solution or deliver a service. And so imagine if you build a mindset of while you're listening and hearing the challenges, you're also thinking about, man, how can I add a little bit of value to like what might be a possible solution? A lot of rookies show up and like, hey boss, like that thing you asked me to do, like it's broken. like full stop. And then boom, awkward pause. And then insert in the manager's mind, really? Like, we hired you to just tell me it's broken? Like, I could have had like a dummy light tell me that it was broken. So this is where we can add the value of, hey, I noticed that system's down a little bit. There's a couple ideas I had of like how maybe to adjust that or maybe anticipate that in the future. Could I share those with you, or is there already a way to kind of get after that? Notice kind of the tentativeness. Even when you bring a solution, going back to the first point, how can I offer something of value without overstepping? Hey, maybe there's this way that I can help, or hey, I thought of this thing that might work. So notice that tentative language. It might work. It maybe could help. What that says is you're humble, but you're also ambitious. You want to help. Right? You're not just going to bring, hey, the thing broke. Right? Okay, so that's number 3. Bring solutions, not just problems. And this fourth one, you might be able to hear it in my voice, but hey, that thing broke. There's a couple ways I think we might be able to get around it, but boss, I just want to bring this for you. You might already have a solution. Here's a couple ideas. What do you think? Like, let's fix this. Doesn't that sound like more fun to work with than, hey, that system broke and like, I'm pissed, or I'm mad, right?
Yeah. Or there's the negative part about it is like, there's people who are always going to be complaining. And number 4, always have a positive can-do attitude.
That's right. That's right.
Where people are excited, like, oh, it's broken, cool, we'll figure it out. Versus like, this thing broke again. Kind of like my throat right now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. No, thank you for that. And so, yeah, modeling that positive can-do attitude, it's like the opposite, or like it's living out on what you see in Philippians talk about, like, do everything without complaining or arguing, right? Like, that's a hard thing to live out when you've got tense work environments. You got things that might not go the right way. So bring a positive attitude and outlook to whatever challenge you're dealing with or whatever project you're working on, and people will just have more fun working with you, right? So that's number 4, is model a positive can-do attitude. Here's the 5th one, Ken, and then we can bring this one home. But 5th one is, just a quick recap, taking initiative without overstepping, number 1. 2, master your role to free up others. 3, bringing solutions, not just problems. 4 is you're modeling that positive can-do attitude. And then the 5th one that really rounds out a great way to kind of demonstrate leadership from below. Support and elevate your teammates. This is critical. So when you're working on a project, be quick to recognize the contributions of others and the teams, right? This is a we thing. This is not a me thing. And man, I'll just tell you, like, the me-focused culture is just pervasive in the business world. And if you can imagine you're on a team you're leading, and a group of your team figured something out, but then one person kind of like takes the cake a little bit, takes the spotlight, brags like, hey, check out this thing that I delivered, right? They're all about themselves. Isn't that a bit of a turnoff? Right? I mean, just like, all right, cool. Like, maybe I should buy tickets to be in your presence because you're so amazing, right? So what I would say is, like, great leaders are really good at deferring when there's praising others, right, for when there's success, and then when there is challenges. Ken, you talk about this a lot. Is you actually take extreme ownership of, hey, this is my problem, it's my fault. I'm going to try to come up with a solution, right? I know you talk about that a bunch.
Yeah, it's one of my preferred axioms, leadership axioms.
That's right. That's right. So those are 5 ways where if you're doing those things consistently in your job, people are going to notice. They're going to take notice. Like, wow, this person is great at their job. They're high capacity. They're always thinking about the next level, the next way they can add value to my team and the overall organization. And you're doing it not in a self-glorifying way, right? But you're doing it in a, I'm here, like, we're all working on this together. Like, let's all win. And can I tell you, that's a good description of what a lot of emerging leaders look like. They have that kind of persona. So even if you are an entry-level data analyst, you can apply these all 5 things. If you are serving food in your school cafeteria, like a part-time thing, you can even apply all these things for there as well. But we're going to try to keep this tight today. So that's what we got. 5 ways to lead from below. Ken, any words on the way out with the frog in your throat still?
I would just today find one way that you can actually step up and lead without having the title. Take one of these 5 and say, I'm going to focus on this one and I'm going to pursue that to get one step closer to looking like Jesus and leading like Jesus.
And we're going to put these things, as you know from hearing about us before, we're going to put these 5 steps in our online community. we're going to stick it in one of those discussion threads. So if you want to engage with us there, you're more than welcome to. But we'll go ahead and post those there, so you don't just have to be we don't have to be talking heads here, but we can be real live people. So appreciate it. Thank you so much. Go forth and unbury your God-given talent today. We'll catch you next time.